I'd like to call to order, excuse me, the Douglasville City Council Legislative Work Session for tonight, which is Thursday, July 31st, 2025. This meeting is called to order. I'll ask the invocation to be done by Reverend Scott York, Assistant Pastor of First Presbyterian Church. After the invocation, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by the Mayor Pro Tem, City Council Member Terry Miller. Please stand for the invocation.
Hello. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to lead us in prayer, and I just want to say thank you for all y'all do to serve our community. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, this opportunity to gather. We pray that you are at work within all of us and through all of us, that you grant us a spirit of wisdom and clarity as we seek to discern what is best for our community, and that you just bless our endeavors as we seek first the welfare of the city that you have placed us in. It is in the name of Jesus Christ our Lord we pray. Amen. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for leading us in the pledge, and thank you, Reverend York, for the invocation. We appreciate your time. Our first item on the agenda, my name is Rochelle Robinson. I'm Mayor of the City of Douglasville. I'd like to welcome you to this legislative work session. This is a work session where agenda items are presented for discussion only. No official action will be taken on these items tonight, but official action will be taken on the items tonight that we discuss next Monday at our normal voting meeting, Monday at 6 p.m. If the business you're here for is not listed as an agenda item, it's storming. There will be ample time under the agenda item comments from citizens and delegates for you to discuss your business. I'll go over a few protocol items, and then we'll get into the meat of the meeting. I ask that you please keep your comments and presentations on a professional level, dealing with the facts that are important for this governing body to make our decisions. We will not accept comments that are considered by the chair to be of a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. You will receive a warning from the chair if you deviate from this requirement. A second deviation will result in us requesting that you leave the premises or the room. Only one person speaking at a time. Please do not applaud, react to speakers, speak from the audience, cheer, or carry on a conversation when you're at the podium. We ask that you would please address myself or council members or the chair when you are making statements at the podium. I'll remind you that we're only required to accept public comments during required public hearings, and if you have any information or documentation that you would like to give to myself and council members, we ask that you would please give it to our Assistant City Clerk, Ms. Jackson. She will make copies and disseminate that information to us. If you have a cell phone or electronic device, I ask that you please put those in silent mode or power those off until after the meeting so they won't be disruptive. This is how the agenda items will be handled this evening, and then we'll get on with the meeting. I ask the committee chairperson will read his or her agenda item. Then the person representing that agenda item or applicant will make his or her presentation. We will possibly ask clarifying questions to help us make our decisions next Monday. After that, the committee chairperson will ask for comments from the audience. There is a maximum of 20 minutes for those that are in favor of an item and 20 minutes for those that are in opposition. And these are for public hearings. Each person has 5 minutes to speak, but in totality, each side only gets 20 minutes. If you'd like to speak, there are cards outside. You should fill out those cards with your name and address. Bring that information to Ms. Jackson. She will put that information into Ms. James, I'm calling Ms. Jackson, into Ms. Candace James' hand, and she will put that information into the record. Only one person speaking at a time. This is not a question and answer format or debate. We're just here to hear the information, deliberate, and make our decisions. Please address all your comments again to the chair and give your printed materials to Ms. Candace, and she'll give those to us if you have that. A lot of information and instructions. Hopefully we're all on the same page and we can move forward. If you'd like to have a physical copy of the agenda, they're outside on a desk. If not, you can follow us on the screens. All right, we'll move on now with the agenda. We're at item number 5, and it is the introduction, introduction and presentation of the 2025 summer interns to myself and council members, and we'll ask Ms. Allison Parker, who is over the internship program, to do her presentation.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Allison Parker, 6695 Church Street, Douglasville, Georgia. I serve as the Organizational Development Manager for the City of Douglasville. I want to start by thanking you all for allowing us the opportunity to bring our interns before you. I get to come before you probably about 3 times a year to introduce our interns and tell you about the great things they've done. And today is no different, as we're also celebrating National Intern Day. So we've had an extremely great group of students this semester, all eager to learn, very diligent, very inquisitive, and they have put forth great efforts this summer. So we hate to see them go, but we're glad that they stopped in Douglasville on the way to their journey. So I'll now like to invite our interns to come up, and they will give you brief introductions of themselves and one key takeaway.
Great.
Good evening. My name is
evening.
Theodore Baker. I served in the finance department for this summer, and I attend Texas A&M University. And one key takeaway that I have is to just be flexible and be open to any challenges that are come, because you never know like how it can help you on your professional journey.
Very good. You learned that in finance?
I like it.
I
I served in I did a lot this summer. I'm gonna just be
Yes, sir. Any questions from council? Thank you. We hope you've had a wonderful time. Are you a Longhorn, or what's the?
I'm Aggie. Giggle.
Aggie. Okay, excuse me.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Nice to see
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Have a blessed day.
You too. Miss Chloe.
Good evening. My name is Chloe Blacknall. I was in the Organizational Development Department, and I attend Vanderbilt University. One key takeaway I had this semester was how much personal growth can come from professional development. I got to sit in on a lot of workshops over the summer, in addition to employee engagement events, and it was just really encouraging to see how much people were willing and strived for growth when they knew they were seen and supported.
Very good. Now, what's Vanderbilt's, what's Vandy's thing?
We're the Commodores, so we anchor down.
The Commodores? What's
Yes.
a Commodore? Like the
a
group
ship.
that sings?
No, like a
No.
ship, a
Yes,
captain.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you
Okay.
so much, Miss Chloe.
Thank you.
Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kamaya Clayton. I'm the community development intern. I am a recent graduate of Savannah State, where I obtained my master's in public administration. And one key takeaway I took away from my internship this semester is how the community development is an inner working parts, and how it just takes up so much to develop the city.
Very good. Orange Project Director, good to see you.
Good to see you
Tiger.
again.
You're welcome. Anything you have for her? All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and
Good
Council.
evening.
I am Janai Cornet, and I'm a first year, or an incoming first year at Spelman College as an economics major, and I had the pleasure of serving as the Bob Turner intern. So throughout my entire internship experience, I was able to shadow almost every department, and my biggest takeaway came from early on when I shadowed public services. Miss Krista Taylor, she told me to be a sponge, and so I took that sentiment to every department that I was able to shadow, and I'm also really excited to take that with me as I start my college journey.
Wow, very good. So you're not going to be very far. You're down in with the beautiful
down the
powder
street.
blue. Yes, ma'am, Miss Spellman. Anyone have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Haley Redden, and my department is Parks and Recreation, and I go to LaGrange College. My key takeaway is that athletics is a key part to Parks and Recreation because it gives a clean, healthy, competitive opportunities to the community.
Very good. Now, Miss Haley, do you play any sports or have you?
Yes, ma'am. I play softball and volleyball for
Okay.
LaGrange College.
Very good. So LaGrange, what is your mascot?
I will be getting my sports management degree hopefully in the
Oh.
next few years.
Very good. Very good. So volleyball, you're going to spike.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
you got it. Any questions or comments? Thank you, Miss Haley.
Hello, my name is Angel
Hello.
Rivera.
Mhm.
My department is Economic Development, and I
Mhm.
attend the University of West Georgia. Go
Okay.
Wolves.
You're a wolf.
Yes, ma'am. And I'll be graduating this December with my major in finance. bachelor's of finance. I apologize. During my internship with the City of Douglasville's Economic Development Department, I learned how to research and track properties by keeping an updated list of vacant sites and gathering details like zoning, ownership, and size. This experience showed me how property research plays an important role in planning for growth and attracting new developments to this beautiful city.
Thank you, Mr. Angel. You know, we have some vacancies in the Community Development Department. Well, anyway, you all have any concerns or questions? Thank you, Mr. River.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Hello.
Hello, I'm Jacob Robinson. I'm in the finance department. Recent grad from West Georgia. Started my master's here in a couple weeks in accounting. My key takeaway from the semester, I learned a lot more Excel and our accounting software that I can help use in future endeavors that I might do in future jobs.
Well, you know, we always looking for great people, ADP or somebody to do all the things. So congratulations on graduating and starting your master's.
Well, thank you.
You're going to be a double wolf?
Yes, ma'am.
You're going back? Okay, very good. Any questions for Jacob? Thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
You're welcome.
Good evening.
Good
My name
evening.
is Molly Sanders, and I work with the
Molly.
Keep Douglasville Beautiful department.
Oh,
I go to Kennesaw State University. I'm pre-law.
hooty hoo.
Yes, ma'am. And one key takeaway I had from this summer semester as an intern is how much of an impact beautification projects can really make on a community like Douglasville.
Very good. I know you have Keep Douglasville or Keep Kennesaw Beautiful programs as well. My daughter graduated from Kennesaw State, and they used to walk on the little pathways and pick up litter and stuff. So
Yes, ma'am. They're very
Yeah.
big on volunteer over there.
very good. Well, thank you for coming to intern with us. Hopefully you had a great time at Keep Douglasville Beautiful. Did you do the market too? The
Yes,
farmers
ma'am.
market? That's where I saw you outside in the farmers
Yes,
market.
ma'am.
It's good to see you. Any
It's good to see you.
questions? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're bringing up the rear. Here we go.
Hello, everyone. I'm Judith Vasquez, and I was with the Community Relations Department,
Okay.
and I'm attending Georgia State University. One key takeaway I had was just how important having a strong bond and communication with your team is, especially during such a busy season like the summer,
Yes.
and always being able to adapt. Yeah.
That's a busy department.
Yes, it is.
Yes. You have a good time. You're a Panther, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you, Sweet Pea.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
Again, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity, and I'd be remiss if I didn't give thanks to our city manager's office for their continued support in our internship program, as well as all staff. With each semester where we bring interns, it's such an investment. Interns are not, they're not just coming and sitting around. They have questions. They want to be involved in projects. They want to really understand what it is that they're doing and how it pertains and how it impacts here at the city. And so I'm so grateful, not only to mayor and council and our city manager's office, but also to all staff that play a role in helping to mold and shape our interns. And so thank you for allowing us to continue this program.
Thank you so much, Ms. Allison. And this semester, I had some shadows from the
Yes, ma'am.
internship program, and it was a great experience to just hear from those young minds and help keeping us fresh and to get an understanding of what they expect from the city. A lot of times we'll have study groups and a lot of people will volunteer, but we might miss that voice of the college students or the ones that are graduating and coming from college into the workplace. So it was good to hear what their future goals, aspirations, and desires are for the city. So that was a great opportunity for me to have one-on-one with some of the interns and to get some of that information.
We
So
appreciate
thank
your time, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Thank you so much, Ms. Allison. Let's give our interns a hand if you all don't mind. Thank you. All righty. So now we'll move on to our next committee, which number 5 is Economic Development Committee. That's chaired by Mayor Pro Tem City Councilmember Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under the Economic Development Committee at this time.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Finance Committee chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
We have a couple of items tonight.
Mhm.
Item A, adopt an ordinance to amend the City of Douglasville's fiscal year 2025-2026 SPLOST 2022 fund budget, and Ms. Heather Campbell will handle this after our Assistant City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to make sure that anyone watching or anybody in the audience knows that this budget amendment is for our special multi-purpose local option sales tax fund. It is separate from the general fund, and it is collected each month through sales tax. So that means it's people who come into the city, anyone who buys things in the city will contribute. So it's not just property tax owners. So before Heather gets into the details of the budget amendment, I wanted to make that clear because a few times we've had comments on why can you purchase this here? And it's because it's coming from special local option sales tax funds. So with that being said, Heather Campbell will present the details, unless you have any questions for me. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
There we go. Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Heather
Good evening.
Campbell, Accounting Manager, 6695 Church Street. This is the third budget amendment for the SPOS 2022 budget. Originally, when we adopted the budget, it wasn't for the full amount of the budget. We estimated at the beginning we were going to receive about $55 million. And the first budget amendment was for $10.5 million, and it covered multiple projects for parks, facilities, public safety, and transportation. We then did the second budget amendment for $1.48 million. At that point, that was how many projects we had to add that we had programmed to add in. On this third budget amendment, this budget amendment will be for $41.8 million. We're partially through the SPOS cycle, so we had a better idea of how much we're going to be receiving in, a better estimate. So we did add multiple projects for this as well as some money in contingency for public safety and transportation. So there's $13.4 million being added in contingency for public safety and $12.4 million being added in for transportation. We did do a conservative increase of 8% for the budget for SPOS based on what we're receiving in and what we project the remaining to receive in. All right, and can answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Ms. Campbell? Anybody? All right, thank you.
Explanatory.
Appreciate that. And is this the type of thing that we could put on the consent agenda? All right. Well, I'd like to do that.
Looks like it's a go.
Item B is to adopt a resolution. Thank you, Ms. Campbell.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. To adopt a resolution to update the city's travel policy to permit city staff to use the city's purchasing card for travel costs for elected officials, to expressly exclude the use of the city's purchasing card for incidental charges and for other purposes. And who's going to be doing this one?
I will
Miranda?
take that one,
Okay.
Mr. Chair. Miranda Jordan, Staff Attorney, 6695 Church Street. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council, Mr. Chair. This resolution adopts the update to the travel policy. This item was discussed at the committee's meeting last week on Monday, and as explained in the agenda item itself, this will allow for city staff officially to use the city's purchasing card for travel costs for elected officials on their behalf, and it will expressly exclude the use of the city's purchasing card for incidental charges. There were some other minor changes that were brought forth in the travel policy, and every minor and major change is noted as a tracked change in the document attached to your agenda item. So under the travel section, this addresses that there are any discrepancies between the travel policy and our code of ordinances, that the code of ordinances would control and prevail. And then on that page 7, there's that specific portion where elected officials will not be issued their own purchasing card, but staff will be authorized officially to use that for travel costs, including air or rail transportation, lodging, rental car fee, event registration, parking associated with lodging, and training materials for the event. And these are all things that would be known at the time of booking ahead of the travel. And I'm happy to take any questions on this item.
So basically, we're just codifying what we've already been doing. We're just updating it. I mean, these are things we're already in play, doing, a policy that we were observing.
Yes, this just brings our official travel policy, our written policy, in compliance with state law, and also brings it up to date with our current practices, as you mentioned. Yes, sir.
Any questions for Ms. Jordan? Yes,
Mr.
Madam
Chairman,
Mayor.
not a question, just a statement. So all the blue is what we're adding.
Yes, ma'am.
So that would be under lodging, travel, and any other sections that have blue is the new portion. Or just codifying all the things that we have been doing in practice. And so for state law, you were saying just to bring, like this one has, bring your receipt, paid in full receipt from the hotel. Or they can email it, or you want the physical receipt?
Either one would be fine.
Okay.
It would just be documentation.
Okay.
Yes, and that's actually not part of the state law requirements. That's
Okay.
just clarifying that the city's purchasing card would not be allowed to be used for hotel incidentals,
Yes, ma'am.
because that is already factored into a per diem rate set by the U.S.
The
General
ho-
Services Administration, that the city council members and employees that travel as well
Mhm.
are already, that amount for incidentals is already factored into that per diem amount.
Right, so it's just like you said, for those things you aforementioned, lodging, text, materials, all of that, not your personal room service or something like that.
That's correct.
Yes, ma'am. All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
One
Yeah.
quick
Yes,
point, just
Mayor Pro Tem.
anybody, I think somebody on the outside who might read this might misinterpret it as expanding the usage, but in actuality, we're restricting the usage based on the policy and practice that the city's has up to this point. It's not an expansion, it's actually a restriction. It's pulling back the potential use of the P card. So I think it's important people understand that this is not, to read it and interpret it properly.
Yes, and just the point of all of these updates that you're gonna see this evening is just legal compliance and making sure that everything is in order. Yes, sir.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Ms. Jordan. I'd like to place this on the consent agenda for Monday.
Looks like that's fine.
All right. Item C. Oh, by the way, if the power goes out, we can't do this and make it go back on, right? Okay. Adopt an ordinance to amend section 2-50 of the City of Douglasville Code of Ordinances to add a subsection I to incorporate the city's travel policy into the ordinance, to add a subsection J to provide for city staff's use of the city's purchasing card to pay for travel costs for elected officials, and to expressly exclude the use of the city's purchasing card for incidental charges, to repeal conflicting ordinances, to provide an effective date, and for other purposes. And Ms. Jordan, I'm assuming will handle this also.
Yes, thank you very much. This item is a little bit redundant of the last item with the same explanations. What this does is goes to our administrative ordinance in section 2-50 and explicitly incorporates the travel policy into the ordinance by reference, and notes that a copy of the travel policy can be received by anyone upon request to the city clerk's office. And it also adds the section J, the subsection J to 2-50 that will provide for city staff's use of the city's purchasing card in order to be compliant with state law, and to expressly exclude the use of the city's purchasing card for incidental charges. Again, for the same purposes as explained with the last item, but I'm very happy to answer any of your questions.
Comments or questions? Council? All right, you did such a good job. No questions this time. All right, thank you. And I'd like to add this to the consent agenda also for Monday. And Madam Mayor, that's all we had tonight under finance.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Ms. Jordan, Attorney Jordan, for explaining those items to us.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll move on then to item number 7, which is Housing and Community Affairs Committee, chaired by Councilmember Howard Estes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business this evening.
Thank you, sir. Legislative and Intergovernmental Committee chaired by Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business at this time under the Legislative and Intergovernmental Committee.
Thank you, sir. Personnel and Organization Committee, also chaired by Councilmember Howard Estes.
And also, again, we have no business tonight for the Personnel and Organization Committee. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome. We do have business under Planning and Development Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Nicole Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
Yes, ma'am, we do have a couple of items this evening.
Yes, ma'am.
Before I get started, though, let me start with our Planning and Development Committee opening statement.
Yes,
This is a
ma'am.
new one, so folks, bear with me here. Good evening. I'd like to call Planning and Development Committee to order. This evening, some of the items on our agenda will require a public hearing. Before we begin those items, I'd like to briefly review the procedures we will follow to ensure an orderly and fair process. These hearings are conducted in accordance with the Georgia Zoning Procedures Act as elected officials. It is our responsibility to ensure that all applicants are reviewed fairly, impartially, and in accordance with the city's zoning ordinance and adopted land use policies. For each zoning item requiring a public hearing, we will begin with a presentation from city staff outlining the request and any relevant findings. The applicant will then have an opportunity to speak. Following those presentations, the mayor and council may ask questions of both staff and the applicant. After that, we will open the floor for public comment. If you would like to speak in support of or in opposition to an application, please complete the comment card before approaching the podium. Comment cards are located near the entrance of the room and should be submitted to the city clerk before your turn to speak. Please include your name, address, the item you wish to address, and if possible, any specific questions you would like staff to follow up on. All comments should be made respectfully and directed to the chair. When you speak, please begin by stating your name and address for the record. If you ask a question, please understand that we will not respond immediately during the public comment portion. Instead, staff will attempt to address all questions at once before the close of the public comment, provided the information is readily available. Each speaker will be allowed up to 5 minutes to speak. We will allocate a total of 20 minutes for comments in support and 20 minutes for those in opposition. This is not a debate. Interruptions, outbursts, or other disruptions will not be permitted. There is a general public comment period at the end of the meeting tonight, but the City Council cannot hear additional public comments during the general public comment portion for specific zoning item where the public has already taken place for that. The mayor will cut off any public comment that refers back to a specific zoning item. As a reminder, the mayor has requested that there be no applause or other demonstrations during the meeting. Please ensure that all electronic devices are silenced, and anyone who disrupts the proceedings will be asked to leave. With that, we will now proceed to the first zoning application on tonight's agenda. And our first item is item number 25-298. Says to hold a public hearing and consider a request for a variance from section 5.04 of the Unified Development Ordinance to increase the accessory structure height from 20 feet to 50 feet for 132.20 acres located on Strickland Street in Land Lot 190, District 2, Section 5, Parcel ID 0009 and 0108, application by Amazon Data Services, and our very own Mr. Dana Gray is going to go over this with us.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Dana Gray, 6695 Church Street. This is a request for several variances by the applicant. Just to give you a little background, the applicant is Amazon, and they are proposing a data center which is located on West Strickland Street. The site will consist of 4 buildings, a substation, a water building, and water towers, and a security building. So the first variance is as follows. They are requesting to reduce the the undisturbed stream buffer from 50 to 10 foot, and also to reduce the impervious setback from 25 feet to 0 feet. And that concludes for that one.
Mr. Gray, that's not the first item there. Sue.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Oh,
Item
the height.
A-
I'm sorry.
No,
sorry.
you're good.
Yeah.
We are looking to increase the accessory structure height from 20 feet to 50 feet.
Correct.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe you told me earlier that that is for the water tower.
That's for the water towers. Sorry about that.
And it's 2 of those, is that correct?
It's 4.
4 water towers?
Yes.
Okay.
And they're
there's also
situated
4
right near the water building.
Okay, and then there's also 4 building structures being proposed as well?
Yes.
Okay. With this height increase, would that pose any issues for safety or first responders?
No, and they'll be buffered from the property line to the north and to the south as well. So that it's Strickland Street, there's a railroad, so it's a good amount of distance visually from seeing those towers.
Okay, thank you. Before the applicant comes up, Council, Madam Mayor, did you guys have questions of Mr. Gray? Madam Mayor?
I do. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Gray, for the brief. I did have a question about, so this is city and county?
No, this is just city. They're on two parcels, industrial parcels.
Mm-hmm.
So they're using those, so they have the outright zoning to be able to build there, so they don't require rezoning. They're just asking for the variances.
Okay. I don't know why I thought it was city and county.
They
and
are surrounded by county.
They're surrounded by
Yes.
the county.
Mhm.
Okay. And so from 20 to 50 feet is for the water towers, not the other physical buildings?
Correct.
Okay. All right. And then, so we'll go to the impervious surface one and stream buffer.
That'll be
at
the next one.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's all
sorry
right.
about
Thank you.
that.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Absolutely. Any other questions of Mr. Gray? Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. What's the purpose of the water towers? The water's for cooling purposes?
That's their cooling, yes.
Okay, and if I'm reading the drawings correctly, they look like your typical massive tanks that you would see like in a tank farm, but for oil is what they usually hold. Are they gonna be holding water at all times?
As I know, yes,
Okay.
there'll be water in there.
And is there a trench system being built around them for emergency failure?
I'll have to yield to the applicant for that question.
Okay. And that's been, I mean, it's not as dangerous as petroleum spilling out everywhere, but it could cause
Correct.
damage
Yes, that's
if
correct.
if there's a catastrophic collapse. So if that's something we can find out about.
Is that it, Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, that's all I have.
Anyone else?
I have a question.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
How close are the data centers to housing? Just trying to get a visual. This is in the industrial area off of West Strickland that's already.
So they were required to have a 100-foot buffer, because they are close to residential.
Right.
But as I analyzed the site plan, it looks like on average, the buildings are actually about 200 foot from the property lines.
And as far as the Water and Sewer Authority, and Madam Mayor, you may can answer this question. With this being as large as it is, what type of stress may not be the right word, but what does that put on our water usage?
They've already gone through to WSA before they've come to us. And we're expanding the Dog River Reservoir.
Right, but
So
do we
the
have
capacity.
specifics in regards to how does this affect the water usage in the area?
I do not have the specifics, but WSA did approve their proposed plan.
Okay, so do we have that proposed plan with this? I didn't see it in here. Or is that something we can get?
No, I believe that is attached to the development plan that we've not seen yet.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
So, yeah, I think that might be a question for the developer, though.
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gray. Come on. Yes, sir, I'm
developer.
sorry.
Attorney Fowler.
Good evening, Mr. Fowler. Yes,
Good
sir.
evening, everyone. Joe Fowler, Post Office, Boggs 489. Good to see you. First meeting here for me. Allow me to introduce Mr. Reed Irwin, engineer with Camley Horn, an engineer who is working with Amazon on the project that you see before you. This property was acquired about a year ago, November the 2nd of last year. And as you see in the various documents that you have, the plan is to construct the 4 data centers that you see. On the right-hand side, halfway down, you can see the tanks. I believe there are actually 6. All of this parcel is just over 130 acres. The site was previously zoned heavy and light industrial when it was purchased, and under the UDO, the site is properly zoned for the data centers. The 4 buildings for the data centers are in the heavy industrial portion of the site. The water building and the security building you see in the general area where the water tanks are, those are in the light industrial quadrant of the site. As Dana has noted, this is a request for a number of variances, a height variance for the water tanks. Those, by the way, are used in the cooling process for the operation of the data centers. They're buying potable water from WSA pursuant to a water service agreement, not quite finished yet. Amazon has been dealing with the WSA, almost reached an agreement. I will tell you that there are other data centers near the Thornton Road area where Amazon has already entered into a water service agreement with the Water Sewer Authority. I will note too that these data centers are mostly cooled by air in a process that is unique to this particular applicant to 90 or 95%. The height variance that you can see is near, not on that site plan, but on another, if someone can scroll through. This is the overall map in the general Atlanta area. That's what it looks like from the entire site plan, and the roadway that serves this area, South Flat Rock Road, is a distance of about 1,500 feet from the water tanks, just to give you a bit of perspective. The height limit, as mentioned earlier in the UDO for buildings in the heavy and light industrial zone, is 50 feet. Buildings can be 50 feet, but accessory structures can't be any higher than 20 feet. These restrictions come under sections 5.04 and 5.05. The request from Amazon with respect to the water tanks that are being used in their process is to simply permit the tanks to be built up to that same height as the buildings, which is 50 feet, so as to maximize the storage. And as I mentioned, these tanks are used in the typical cooling system that Amazon has developed for the operation of its data centers. It's not likely that these will be seen given the proximity to the center of the property, but that's the request with respect to the height variance. Mr. Irwin may answer some other specific questions that you may have, but what will be in those tanks with water that has come from the WSA, and then that will be used as their cooling processes continue with respect to their data center operations. So I'll turn it over to him for any questions you may have from him.
Thank you. And sir, if you'll please just come up and give us your name and address for the record.
Yes. Good evening. My name is Reed Irwin. I'm a civil engineer with Kimley Horn. Our office is at 11740 Amber Park Drive in Alpharetta, Georgia.
Thank you for that. In looking at these water towers, can you tell me, is this recycled water? Or like will you keep recycling that water through?
So the particular tanks at the water building are used for, let's refer to it as like a water bank. So we don't, to prevent taxing the water system in the county, we would fill those tanks at a low rate, and it would be basically potable drinking water in those tanks. And then during the hottest months, that water would be used for cooling. Like Mr. Fowler said, 90% of the, 95% of the time, the buildings will be air cooled. But when we get into the hot, sticky months of the summer like we're in now, it's just not practical to be able to do that. So it's kind of like a water storage system, just like you'd see an elevated water storage tank for the, for the county. Their cooling operation does recycle the water, but not inside those tanks. So there would only be fresh water in those tanks, and the recycling would occur at the building level. And the water, depending on the quality of the water, in the system, would be recycled maybe up to 6 times before it's discharged into the sanitary sewer system.
Okay. I think that was my only question at this time. Council?
Can you answer the question about catastrophic backup? I mean, it's water. I know that the water itself is not harmful, but thousands of gallons of water suddenly pouring into that stream bed could have a deleterious environmental effect.
There's, to my knowledge, there's not provisions for, a tank rupture or something like that, but something that we could likely look into.
I mean, typically with oil, petroleum farms, they'll build a dike system around them, just that way if the water, if the liquid does get out of there, it's got something to prevent it from splashing out or getting beyond that immediate area. So I think that's something that needs to be looked at.
Yeah, understood.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Coach, did you have questions?
Just out of curiosity, they had 2 of the tanks in the drawings, and one of them was labeled firewater tanks, and the other one was, I'm assuming, LW tanks. I don't know what the difference is.
There are actually, in this drawing, there's a row, you see a row of 4 tanks. There's 2 tanks above that, so there's a total of 6 water storage tanks for cooling. Look, I think there's a note over it that, over 2 of them, so they're difficult to see there. But the 2 smaller tanks that you see kind of on the south end of the building, those are fire protection tanks.
Okay,
So,
that's what I figured.
yeah, there are fire protection tanks included as well, but they're separate from the water storage.
Gotcha. Okay. I thought that was the case. I just wanted to hear you say it. I wasn't sure.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. That's all I had, Madam
Okay,
Chair.
thank you. Are there any other questions on this item of the applicant? No? Okay. Then, at this time, guys, I know that we do need to hold that public hearing. So if we have anyone here who would like to speak for this item, if you'll come up and give us your name and address for the record. And if not, we'll go ahead and close that section of the public hearing. Now, if we have anyone who would like to speak against this item, if you'll give your card, your comment card over here to the right to the ladies, and then give your name and address for the record. You will have, I believe it's 5 minutes.
Yes, my name's Nathan Allen Teal. I live at 2204 South Flat Rock Road. This is the first drawing. I've tried to look for this. I've seen the notices for the variance about 2.5 weeks ago. They actually had the incorrect address. They had 6700 Church Street on them. I know from the Douglas County Sentinel that everything has been moved to here. A lot of the neighbors might not know that. There was only signage put up approximately 2.5 weeks ago, as I said. And seeing some of this, I have a question for what is the total amount, if I missed it, for the gallons of water that will be held there? Did I miss that?
I don't believe you did. We'll have to get that information for you.
Okay.
though.
Thank you, Mr. Teal.
My name is DeWitt Roper. I live at 6826 Cedar Mountain Road, Douglasville. Excuse me. Madam Mayor and council members, this should be one of the easiest votes you will ever make. We have stream buffers for a reason. Stream buffers are a vital and critical part of our ecosystem. They have both aquatic and non-aquatic plants and animals not found anywhere else. The streams on this property are especially important, as they're the water source of 3 lakes, 1 at a church count. The creeks end up in Gothard's Creek, then Sweetwater Creek, and then the East Point Reservoir. All the creeks from Beulah to Man Road on the north side of the railroad tracks end up in Sweetwater Creek. And this is the Stream Data Center take up a large portion. The Stream Data Center is just a little ways from this. So you're going to have 2 huge data centers within just probably a quarter of a mile of each other. These streams on this location border one of the rarest and most ecologically sensitive areas in the state and the U.S. This statement isn't hyperbole, is well documented by college professors, professional botanists, and the DNR. I'd be glad to share the research with you. Research shows that stream buffers should be doubled because of the noise and the sheer size of these developments. They should be doubled because stream buffers are so ecologically sensitive. They serve as groundwater recharge areas for our wells, our springs, and our underground aquifers. They supply water for lakes, fishing, and recreation, and our marshes and swamps that have their own special ecosystems. That includes both plants and animals. You would think that the 3rd richest man on the planet, and owner of one of the largest companies in the world, a company that extols climate change and the environment, you would think that if they wanted to be a good neighbor and a part of the community that they would double the stream buffers on their own. Instead, they ask for variances. Their audacity knows no bounds, a total disregard for the neighbors, the community, and the environment. Mr. Bezos has 4 jets, 2 helicopters, a 417-foot yacht, and a support yacht that cost around $700 million. He heats and cools multiple mansions. He has 1,200 distribution centers. It takes an enormous amount of gall and a total disrespect to the people to go into a small community and ask for stream buffer variance when you know how important they are. To them, stream buffers are just a short-term annoyance. They believe that if you're big enough and rich enough, you can get what you want. It's obvious they care nothing about the people, the community, or the environment. You can't undo ecological damage. We have stream buffers for a reason. I plead with you all to vote no. Do what everyone knows is right, vote no. The stream buffers and the development code mean anything, vote no. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. And if anyone else wanted to speak at this time, we're actually talking about the accessory structure height. Ms. Welsh, if you'll please give us your name and address for the record.
My name is Cindy Welch. I live at 3002 Concord Way, Douglasville. I just have a question about the buffers that they want. It seems like there's supposed to be at least a 25-foot buffer in some areas and a 50-foot buffer in others, and they don't want any buffer. For 645 feet, they want to be right up where the stream is. And that just doesn't seem like that's going to be very safe. What are they going to do to our water system? And I can't imagine a 0 buffer. I mean, you think they ask for 10 feet, 20 feet, but no, they don't want any. And I don't think that's right.
Thank you, Ms. Welsh. Did we have anyone else who wanted to speak in opposition on the accessory structure height? Ms. James, how much time do we have left? 14 minutes. Okay. Well, if there's no one else who wanted to speak, let's go ahead and close out that public hearing. We'll move along. Okay. Item number 25-299 says hold a public hearing and consider a request for a variance in section 9.01.E.1 of the Unified Development Ordinance to reduce the 50-foot undisturbed stream buffer from 50 feet to 10 feet for a distance of 195 feet in section 9.01.E.2 to reduce the additional 25-foot impervious setback from 25 feet to 0 feet for a distance of 250 feet for 132 acres located on Strickland Street in Land Lot 190, District 2, Section 5, Parcel ID 0009, And land lot 189, District 2, Section 5, parcel ID 0021, application by Amazon Data Services. Mr. Gray.
Okay, this is the correct one. You should have a site plan that has a location, which is location 1. So again, they are requesting to reduce the 50-foot undisturbed stream buffer from 50 to 10, and an additional variance to reduce the 25-foot impervious setback down to 0. And that concludes.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. Madam Mayor, Council, do you guys have questions of Mr. Gray? Yes, ma'am.
I do for Mr. Gray. Would it be cost prohibitive, or would the applicant be unable to develop this project following the current, not having any impervious surface or right up on the buffers? What's the why with 130 plus acres can't they fit the project within the requirements?
If it is denied, they probably would have to come up with a different type of configuration. I don't know if they would lose a building or make the building smaller. I believe the engineer would be able to answer that accurately.
Oh, okay, well, I'll wait for the engineer. Mr. Irwin is the engineer,
Yes.
correct? From
Yes.
Kimley Horn? Okay,
Yes.
we'll wait for him to
Okay.
ask that question. But thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Any other questions of Mr. Gray? No? Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Irwin, Mr. Fowler?
These variances are set under section 901E and 901E2. There are a total of 4, and I presume, Madam Chair, you're going to go through each one of them separately. Let me just point out a couple of things. Cindy Welch asked a good question. Is it going to be a building right up to the edge of the stream? And the answer is no. There are a succession in the ordinance of 25-foot setbacks. So if the stream is here, there's a state-imposed setback of 25 feet. There's no request to vary that anywhere. Then there's a city-imposed additional setback of 25 feet, and then there's an additional impervious setback of 25 feet. So when you read the way these things are presented, it's easy to think precisely what she did, that this is going to be an intrusion into the state waters. All of these are state waters, which is a definition that simply means it's waters of the state, and therefore buffers are required. Location number 1 fits into that category where there will always be that state 25-foot requirement. And I would also say, as is routine, there will always be appropriate measures undertaken to prevent any adverse stream impacts, any environmental impacts, as was mentioned a moment ago by Russ. And I will also note that all the construction it'll be investigated and monitored by both the Water Sewer Authority, by state officials, the EPD, and federal officials as necessary. So what you have with respect to location number 1 is a request to reduce the 25-foot undisturbed stream buffer from 50 to 10, which would make the whole distance 60 feet from the edge of the stream. And that is a distance of 195 feet. I'm trying to find the appropriate slide. Can someone help me? Pardon me? Thank you. You'll see the 4 areas that are mentioned there in red, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if you notice in the southerly portion of the map where it says number 1, there's a section there that talks about that distance of 195 feet. And then that's the first of the 2 under this location. And the next is to reduce the additional 25-foot impervious setback from 25 to 0 feet. That's what leaves the total distance from the stream that Breeden will talk about at this point. Would you take over?
Hello again.
Yes, sir.
So the justification for requesting the variance there's kind of several reasons for that. So I want to kind of talk through those first. You know, the location and the amount of aquatic resources on this property is pretty significant compared to the overall property. It's around 17.4 acres of the property that's within a buffer. That doesn't count your building setbacks and landscape buffers and other areas around the property. So the site is also, I'm sure, as you know when you drive by it, it's a mountain. So there's a change in elevation on this property of over 210 feet from the highest point to the lowest point. And in order to develop that, obviously, the buildings have to be built on level ground. So with those two items in mind, the difficult part of developing the site is creating enough area for the project to be viable and for them to be able to build to a density that will justify the expense of the property and the development. The other thing that I'd point out relative to the site is the area that you see in the top left corner, that's a power substation. And that needs to be in that location based on conversations with Georgia Power, and it is adjacent to a power transmission line that kind of runs through the property just north of there. And I also mentioned that the railroad along the south is also a location where utilities will be taken, you know, from that railroad right of way and brought onto the site. So the location of the property, based on the available power and the available fiber for data services, is what's kind of driving the choice of this and the expense to develop a site in this way. Relative to impacts, so to develop the property, the development plan includes pretty extensive retaining walls around the edge of the building pad. If you consider where you see the 4 buildings and the substation is all basically going to be the same elevation. Around that, there's significant retaining walls, and those retaining walls are helping make up that 210-foot difference from, you know, that across the property. Those are based in the areas of the stream. Those are fill walls, which means the buildings will be on the high side and the streams will be on the low side, which we typically expect. I'd also note that the variances that we're requesting, the impacts associated with that, of the total buffer, the total city buffer, which is that 25 to 50 foot that we're requesting, is 9.3% of the entire city buffer area within the property. So it's a pretty small percentage. The impacts to the impervious setback, 7.3% of the total impervious setback, which is that 50 to 75 foot area from the creek bank. So as Mr. Fowler mentioned, the Georgia EPD, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, the WSA, and the city will all be involved in site inspections and those types of things during construction of the property should it be approved. This project will have 6 stormwater management ponds. They will control the runoff, provide water quality, and manage the flows into the streams. Extensive erosion, sedimentation, and pollution controls will be implemented to protect the streams. Double rows of silt fence, mulch berms, and enhanced stormwater conveyance, along with just the normal typical erosion control features that would be on a typical commercial site. Those are enhanced in areas where, to prevent impacts to the streams.
Is that it?
May I ask him to address an issue?
Yes, please.
When this retaining wall is adjacent to a stream, what lies between the edge of the retaining wall and the stream to control erosion from that area?
Well, the retaining wall actually provides a lot of protection of that stream buffer. Because if you think about, if you were to build a fill slope from that buffer up 20 feet, 30 feet, the stormwater running down that slope would create rills and create erosion, and that erosion would end up in the stream. With the wall, there's a much more gentle slope from the base of the wall to the stream, which will prevent erosive velocities from occurring in the water that's running in that area towards the stream. But in general, that area between the stream and the wall would be the existing vegetation would remain in areas that are not disturbed, and then in areas that were disturbed based on approval of the variance would be revegetated with native materials.
So when the request is, for example, a variance for a distance of, in one place, 195 feet, and in the second, 250 feet, are those distances going to be where the retaining walls are located?
Yes, that distance is where any disturbance hits the buffer line. So if the buffer line is like this, the distance is from, we're disturbing from this point to this point along that buffer line. It may be curved, it may be, it's not a straight line, but that's just showing the distance of the buffer along the creek that is impacted.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, Council, do you have questions of the applicant? Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am, I do. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the explanation. You've been very thorough to try to give us a better understanding. I know you're an engineer, and so you all know exactly what you're talking about, but just from a layman's standpoint, just for clarity for me, you were saying there are only 17.4 acres that you really can develop the entire project on out of the 130 plus?
No, not necessarily, but the 17.4 acres include all the stream buffer areas within the site.
Within the site.
And you can see the blue lines, and then the buffers are outside of those blue lines.
Yes, sir. So there, on the plan, there's a potential wetland impact as well. That red, there's like a little pond. Is that a detention pond?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I guess the other thing would be that those requirements are there for a reason. And even with the wall, and it sounds like the wall is really going to help with erosion and velocity going into Gothard's Creek and to Sweetwater Creek, ultimately. But of course, if you don't have anything there, then you don't have to worry about the velocity. But when you put development there, it's going to impact, it's going to be impervious surface. So, it's concrete or whatever is going to, all of that oil or whatever's in cars and trucks are going to go into the stream. So if you have more of a buffer, it'll mitigate any of those toxins and stuff going into the water system. And I just have a hard time bending the requirements, because I think it gives the water protection, the water source more protection with the state, the city. Army Corps engineers put those requirements there for a reason. So that's the only thing. I'm just letting you see where I'm thinking. I'm not saying that it's unreasonable based on what you're proposing, but just trying to let you see both sides. And it's kind of like Cinderella's slipper, trying to get your shoe. So if you can't get your foot in the slipper, then you're gonna have to, I don't know, to make the slipper larger or to squeeze your toes together. So if the buildings are too large, the 3 buildings, not inclusive of the power source building, maybe make them one smaller so that it can fit. That's all I wanted to say. So how come you can't develop and make the buildings a little smaller to fit the requirements?
I'm not really able to speak to that
Okay.
as the civil engineer.
Yes,
I
sir.
think it's, obviously there's a cost associated with development and
Yes, sir.
however that pencils out. I have no knowledge of that, but
Yes, sir.
I'm sure that if.
Just a consideration.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if the question was presented to us, that we could go back to AWS and.
Yes, sir.
Most likely get an answer.
And thank you so much. But Mayor Pro Tem, I know, has a question. This is an architect. Maybe he can tell us. Thank
Well, I
you.
could
Yeah.
go on
Thank you,
about
Madam Mayor.
building size, that's not, but speaking of that, and I apologize, I meant to ask this question at the beginning, because I don't really know where I can slip this in, because it's not precisely related to stream setbacks, but it is related to the building size that the mayor just brought up. You've got 4 main buildings there that adds up to 710,000 square feet, which coincidentally is about 17 acres of building under roof. That's not counting ancillary buildings, parking, other development on the site. Is any consideration being given to the heat island effect of that much roofing area?
Yeah, I'm not able to speak to that.
Okay, yeah, you are the civil engineer, you're not the, you're not the building designer, but I'd like that to, I just kind of want to enter that into the record, that's got to be something that we need to be considering on developments of this size. I mean, that's a mass, because there's other developments not very far from there, and collectively, we're starting to create some serious heat islands, set on a day when it was, 94 degrees, I think it hit today. And it's personal meaning too, because the air conditioning went out in my office today, so I'm really kind of a little ticked off about that right now. So something I want to present as an issue that we're thinking about. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Coach?
Ms. Hamilton, City Manager, some of those questions could be answered once the development plan, is that when, because those are good questions, but no, those are good questions, but
They are good questions, but I think what you're assessing is, are they relevant to the zoning process? Is that what you're asking?
yes.
I think legal's gonna say no, they're not. But we can get the answers for you if you want answers to those questions.
Well, yeah, I'd like Mr. Fowler to just real quick, briefly, explain to me again, we got the 25 feet that the state requires.
Yes, sir.
25 feet that the city requires.
Yes, sir.
And
And then
then,
an add-on additional impervious 25 feet.
so when you're talking about 0 feet in this one, how close are you actually to the stream?
It depends on which of the various requests you're talking about.
Well, the one that's 0, the most,
And would you explain which one is 0?
Well, where this is referring to 0 in the documents, that 0 is 25 feet from the stream.
okay.
Because we're just explaining what's happening with the city buffers.
Right.
Because we're requesting a variance from the city for that 25-foot buffer, which is 25 feet to 50 feet away from.
Right. So none of your variance requests are exceeding the 25 feet that the state has mandated?
There are 2 locations where we are proposing encroachment into the 25-foot buffer. That is an application that is filed with Georgia EPD for review.
So that's not even come before us?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
May I just
Thank you.
address that a little bit? When you look on that site plan, you see the dotted lines along the blue line. The blue is the stream, and each one of those 3 dotted lines refers to the 25 feet. So there are a total of 3 lines, 25, 25, and 25, and that tracks all the way through the entire site.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Fowler or Mr. Irwin, can one of you tell me what the potential laydown area is?
Talk about that, lay down yard.
Yeah, that's just an area where during construction, people would park, materials that come onto the site, steel, blocks, different type of construction materials would be stored there, just, that type of, work.
And what happens when construction is completed?
When construction is completed, those areas would be, returned to natural vegetation.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Madam Mayor, Council, any other questions of the applicant before we, yes, Madam Mayor?
I did really quickly, and really not more so for the applicant. I do see all of, all from A to E with the variances. And I guess I understand the premise of it not being the development plan, but it's kind of like the chicken before the egg or something. If we grant variances, then it's hand in hand with zoning. So if we grant the zoning, we are essentially, I don't know, it doesn't seem like this is.
So there's actually no zoning aspect of it because they're in the current zoning.
Yeah, they're in the correct
in heavy-
zoning.
Yeah, so there's no zoning for us to look at. It's simply,
Mhm.
yeah, the impervious, well, the
So this is where
variances.
we would see what they're asking. It's not a development plan, it's now for the variances.
Hmm?
Pardon me? They still have to do a development plan.
Yes, ma'am. If
So
they-
that would be where we can
that
talk
would
about
be
the
after
buildings and all of that. But this is still, so the buildings would be during the development plan, but right now we're talking about variances.
Mhm.
Understood. I was just trying to make the building fit because the reason why they asked for the variance is because the buildings don't fit.
Right. No, I hear you.
Okay.
Makes sense. Okay. Well, if there are no other questions of the applicant or Mr. Fowler, let's open up the public hearing. If we have anyone here who would like to speak for this item that is the variance, then please give your cards to Ms. Jackson or Ms. Callen. You will have 5 minutes to speak on new information. And at this time, we'll go ahead and close that portion of the public hearing and we'll open up if anyone has anything to speak in opposition of it. If you'll please come down, give your name and address for the record. Do you have anything new to add that we've not already talked about?
Cindy Welch, 3002 Concord Way. I just have another question. If there was supposed to be a 50-foot undisturbed buffer adjacent to that, and now they're asking that there was an additional 25-foot impervious surface. Now they want to get rid of all of that, and there will be zero buffer, they can have as much impervious surface as they choose. And that's for 645 feet. So if we just had a storm, just like what we had now, where was that water? Where's it gonna go?
Thank you, Ms. Welsh. Please just give us your name and address for the record.
Yes, my name's Nathan Allen Teal, 2204 South Flat Rock Road. And we're trying to catch all these up here. It seems like we're all jumping around on this, so I'm going to go ahead and try to take some of my time with B. I know we're still on because we hadn't quite gotten to C yet, but they're all touching on the same thing. I do appreciate the questions from the council and the mayor. Okay, Section 9. Board this is environmental. That's our environment. I live here, as do most of you too as well. As far as the buffer requirements, Douglas County Development, I'm not trying to undermine or belittle anybody. I just wanted to be on record. Anawake Creek Basin is 50 feet plus 25-foot impervious surface buffer. Bear Creek Basin is 100 feet plus 50 feet impervious surface buffer. Beaver Run sub-basin is 100 feet plus 50 feet impervious surface buffer. Dog River Basin, automatically 200 feet, no questions, ifs, ands, or buts about it, because that's one of our largest reservoirs. Gothers Creek subbasin, 50 feet. All others, 50 feet. This would fall under Gothard Creek and all others, 50 feet. Sweetwater Creek Basin is 100 feet plus 50 foot. I find it to be absolutely ridiculous to request a 0-foot distance for 250 foot on something that affects me, my family, and the rest of Douglas County citizens. That is a water recharge area for groundwater. We went over this with the rock quarry, that this was also for Paulding County, Fulton County, and Douglas County for a recharge area. I don't think it's that much to ask. They're probably gonna get what they want anyway to develop, since they're bringing so much money to Georgia, $11 billion. It needs to be the right development. We need to observe our buffer requirements for the future of Douglas County, because if not, are you opening it up even more? I'm not trying to say all the wrong decisions were made by Switch, but Switch is huge. That is one big conglomerate, if you ask me. I don't want to see that out from the front of my door. There will be light trespass. There will be noise trespass. Noise mitigation comes from buffers and berms. Thank you.
Thank you.
DeWitt Roper, 6826 Cedar Mountain Road, Douglasville. This is a mountain. The applicant said that there's a 200-foot difference in elevation. That's just part of the elevation. The elevation from the top of this mountain to the bottom of it at Gothers Creek is probably another 100 or so foot of elevation. This is a ton of water going down a mountain. And also, I've heard that there's going to be thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands or millions of pounds of rock, cubic rock, blasted off of this mountain. So this is some really important stuff, because like I've told you, Cedar Mountain is an ecologically special place. There's only two other places in the United States that has the balsamic rock that Cedar Mountain does and the endangered plants and species that it does. I wish y'all would reach out to me. I'll give you all that information, but this is a special place. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Was there anyone else who wanted to speak in opposition of this item? Okay, if not, let's go ahead and close that public hearing, folks. Move along to item C. Item number 25-300, to hold a public hearing and consider a request for a variance from section 9.01.E.1 of the Unified Development Ordinance to reduce the 50-foot undisturbed stream buffer from 50 feet to 12 feet for a distance of 200 feet. And section 9.01.E.2 to reduce the additional 25-foot impervious setback from 25 feet to 0 feet for a distance of 395 feet for 132.20 acres located on Strickland Street, Land Lot 190, District 2, Section 5, Parcel ID 0009, application by Amazon Data Services. Mr. Gray.
Yes. Again, on your site plan, this is location 2, where they're requesting to reduce the stream buffer from 50 to 12 and reduce the impervious setback from 25 to 0.
Thank you, Mr. Gray.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor and Council, do you have questions of Mr. Gray regarding this variance? Mr. Estes.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding the request here. So we're going from 75 feet to 12 feet?
They are actually going from 50 feet to 12 feet.
But then the 25 to 0 in addition to that?
Correct.
So it is 75 to 12? Okay. All right, I just wanted to make sure I understood. Thanks.
Thank you.
Same
Madam Mayor.
concerns about
Absolutely.
the buffers.
Understood. Okay. Does the applicant have anything to add to this variance?
Nothing to add. We've made our presentation with respect to both this and the others that follow, so nothing to add from our
Yes, sir.
perspective. But we would be glad between now and Monday to get with anybody on the staff or on the council who would like to see the exact dimensions of where the impacts would be, so that you'll see what the distance of 205 or 395 is. If somebody wants to give us a call with respect to that, we'd be glad to do that, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay, understood. Thank you very much, Mr. Fowler. Okay, at this time, if we have anyone who would like to speak for this item, if you'll please come down and give us your name and address for the record. And since there are no takers, if we have anyone who would like to speak in opposition of this item with new information, if you'll please come down and give us your name and address for the record. Okay, and if not, guys, let's go ahead and close that section of the public hearing as well. Don't worry, there's more. Item number 25-301, to hold a public hearing and consider a request for variance from section 9.01.E.2 of the Unified Development Ordinance to reduce the additional 25-foot impervious setback from 25 feet to 15 feet for a distance of 85 feet for 132.20 acres located on Strickland Street in Land Lot 190, District 2, Section 5, Parcel ID 0009, application by Amazon Data Services. Mr. Gray.
Yes, this is location 3 on your site plan, and they are requesting to reduce the impervious setback from 25 to 15.
Thank you, Mr. Gray.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, Council, any additional questions for Mr. Gray? Okay. Mr. Fowler, do you guys have anything to add to this?
No, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay. At this time, let's open that public hearing. If we have anyone here who would like to speak on behalf of this item. And since not, we'll close that portion of the public hearing. And now if we have anyone who would like to speak in opposition of this item with new information, you'll please come down and give us your name and address for the record. Okay, if not, let's close that public hearing. Item number 25-302, to hold a public hearing and consider a request for a variance from section 9.01.E.2 of the Unified Development Ordinance to reduce the additional 25-foot impervious setback from 25 feet to 20 feet for a distance of 30 feet for 132.20 acres located on Strickland Street in Land Lot 190, District 2, Section 5, Parcel ID 0009, application by Amazon Data Services. Mr. Gray, take it away.
All right, and on your site plan, this is location 4, where they are requesting to reduce the impervious setback from 25 to 20.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. Madam Mayor, Council, any additional questions of Mr. Gray? Do you guys have any additional questions or comments of the applicant, Madam Mayor?
Well, not of the applicant, but just for staff. It was a concern to make certain, Madam Chair, of our advertising, if it was done correctly. Do we have, was our advertising done in the according to our ordinances, like the time frame for?
Yes, it was definitely toward the time frame, and in the Sentinel paper, the address was incorrect on the sign.
On the signs or
Yes.
in the paper?
On the signs.
Okay, so we're gonna get that corrected?
It was corrected.
Okay. Are there distance requirements between data centers, how we've done for other developments? I thought we were
No.
looking at something like that for,
We don't have
well,
that
not
in
for
place
this
now.
development, but just in general.
If we do require a distance?
Yes, sir.
No, not right now.
Okay, I know that we've done that with other types of developments. Like
Is that what
maybe
you all are
Dollar
asking for us to
Trees.
do? Typically, data centers collectively go together, but if this is something you're looking to do, we'll add it to the others that we're crafting.
I understand they go together, but
Right,
just,
so
to
it's
the
not to
Mayor
have
Pro
one
Tem's.
here and
Yes.
then one on the other side of town, so that those sorts of things are kind of grouped together.
Right.
If anything, I think I would like to look at the number of them that we have, not only the ones on the line, but the ones yet to come.
Okay.
I think that'd be good information to have. Questions of the applicant? No? Okay. Mr. Gray, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Guys, did y'all have anything else to add to this one, Mr. Fowler? Okay. Last public hearing, folks. If we have anyone here who would like to speak for this item, Ms. Welsh, not yet, if you'll come down and give us your name and address for the record. If not, let's close that section of the public hearing. Now, if we have anyone who would like to speak in opposition of this item with new information, if you'll please come down and give us your name and address for the record.
Cindy Welch, 3002 Concord Way. I just have a kind of a suggestion. If they would take their survey of the property, show us where the buffer is supposed to be and the feet that it's supposed to be, and then show us where they want to put the buffer and how much that is. I think that if we could all see that, and I know it would help you all if you could see that on paper instead of them trying to tell you how they're doing it.
It's in the notes. It should be uploaded. When you get home this evening, look on the city site where the agendas are and the attachments. It's in there.
So it's got the survey,
You'll see it's something like this.
and it
Ms. Welch.
shows where, in color, what would be there, and in a different color, what they're proposing.
Ms. Welsh, look at page 14 in the attachments. I believe that's the one that it's going to be. It's going to be color coded and show you where the buffers are, where
Okay.
the variances are that they're asking for. But yes, ma'am, it is all online.
On page 14.
Check all the attachments to make sure that I'm correct at that page number, because it may be a little different going from the online version to our version.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, was there anyone else who would like to speak in opposition of this item? Okay. If not, I'm going to go ahead and close this section of the public hearing. And folks, we will take this item up on Monday. Madam Mayor, that is all that I have this evening for planning and development.
Thank you so much, Madam Chairman. You did a wonderful job, and thank you to the applicant, Mr. Fowler, and the community for responding to this concern and issue, this agenda item. So we'll move on now to another one of your committees, Public Improvement and Beautification, chaired by Councilmember Nicole Miller.
Madam Mayor, we have no business this evening for public improvement and beautification.
Thank you, ma'am. Public Relations Committee, chaired by Councilmember Samuel Davis.
No business at this time, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Davis. Public Safety Committee, I'll ask Mayor Pro Tem, if you don't mind, as the Vice Chair, taking this committee, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We
You're
have
welcome.
one item under the Public Safety Committee at this time, and that is
Mhm.
to consider approval of an application for an open container day permit on Thursday, August 28th, 2025, from 4:00 p.m. to 8:00 p.m. at O'Neill Plaza for the Douglas County Chamber's 80th Birthday Bash, submitted by Sarah Ray of the Douglas County Chamber of Commerce. And I must say, the Chamber does not look a day over 40.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you guys all for inviting me tonight. Just am asking for approval. As Mayor Pro Tem mentioned, we are celebrating 80 years, just like you guys are celebrating 150. So we are having, I know, we are having a birthday bash on August 28th on O'Neill Plaza. And in a way to support our local businesses, we are asking to enact the entertainment district so that when people are attending, we've got the HUD food truck that's going to be there. We've got live music, all kinds of activities, and we thought that it'd be a great way for people to enjoy the evening if they'd like to have a beverage to frequent one of our downtown restaurants.
Thank you, Ms. Ray. Any questions or comments from council? Thank you. Mr. Estes.
Ms. Ray, I think this is a great idea, but I have one complaint.
Yes.
It's very poor planning because this happens on the evening of a council meeting. So none of
Maybe-
us can come.
What? Okay. Well, it starts at 5. You guys have your committee session before. All right. Well.
Anyway, we'll wait for the 90th.
Yes.
Just
Or you
make
can come
sure
to the
that's not on
VIP
a-
thing before.
All right,
So,
thank
yes.
you.
It's not a VIP thing after?
Or the after party.
With the
maybe, yes.
cigars and all that stuff?
We'll make sure we all find a way to celebrate together, I promise.
Any other questions, comments? Councilman Miller, you look like you're about to say something.
No, I wasn't, but I will if you like. I feel like this is exactly what the art and the entertainment district is intended for.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you. We're celebrating all year long, just like you guys.
That's good.
Councilman Davis?
Just saying, we need to just make this permanent from now on.
Okay. we're gonna be celebrating your birthday every day.
Thank you.
All right. I'm suspecting there's no objection to put this on the consent agenda. We shall
Your
do that.
assistant city clerk says one of your council members may have a conflict, so you cannot put it on the
I'm sorry?
consent.
Oh,
Oh, we cannot?
on the okay.
Yes.
Councilmember Dr. Burden.
No, Ms. Hudson.
Oh, Ms. Hudson. Because of the food truck.
Okay.
Gotcha. Then thank you for pointing that out. So we will then vote on this on Monday then. Madam Mayor, that's all we have under the Public Safety Committee.
Thank you so
you.
much, Mr. Vice Chair. Thank you, Ms. Sarah Ray. Congratulations again, and happy birthday, 80th birthday to the Chamber. Yes, ma'am. Recreation, Culture, and Tourism Committee, chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight.
Thank you, sir. Technology Committee, chaired by Councilmember Elena Hudson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no new business this evening under technology.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Would you please do Transportation Committee for me?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're
We
welcome.
have one item under the Transportation Committee at this time, and that is to amend Resolution RES 2025-40 to change the new name of Elm Street in the city of Douglasville from Page Street to Martha Page Street. And Ms. Jordan, you have some comments about that?
Okay.
I
Yes,
think it looks obvious.
yes. Once again, Miranda Jordan, staff attorney, 6695 Church Street. Last week, the council recognized Miss Martha Page, and her family was here. Councilman Davis brought forth a concern from a member of the community that the street name would be more appropriate being Martha Page Street rather than Page Street. So that item is being brought for your consideration this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Jordan. Any comments or thoughts? Mr. Davis?
No, I've appreciated it. We all came to my attention. They would love that, being Martha Page, so whenever the kids grow up and know who lived on that street, and they'll know if Miss Martha Page, 102 years old, just like J.D. Simpson, James Simpson Funeral Home. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. I would agree that makes, it seems a little more appropriate to give her full name on the street and Page. Just the last name makes it a little more anonymous, so let's go ahead and give it her full due recognition. Any other comments or questions?
And this basically just papers the file to
Yep.
make that official.
Essentially a housekeeping in a way, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we didn't print the signs already, did we?
And they up.
Oh, oops. Well, we can reuse them, though. We can reuse them. They are recyclable, I'm pretty sure, aren't they?
We'll figure something out.
Okay, good. Okay. I won't dig the hole any deeper for the city at this point.
I know, leave that alone.
All right, if there's no objection to this one we can put on the consent agenda, I'm assuming. Okay. All right, thank you, Madam Mayor. That is all we have under the Transportation Committee at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, and to Attorney Jordan, our staff attorney. Do we have any other business to come before council tonight? Not seeing any, I'll just remind us that we do have loss in some of our City of Douglasville family, retiree from the police department, some staff, parents have passed away, and Miss Barbara Cobb Dobbs in the community. So if we can keep everyone in prayer, we would greatly appreciate it. And we'll move on then to updates from our city staff. Our city attorney, Mr. Joel Dodson. Thank you, sir. Staff attorney, Ms. Miranda Jordan.
No business, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Our police department deputy chief, J.R. Davison.
No business, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Our city manager, Ms. Marsha Hampton.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Okay, wonderful. We have comments from citizens and delegates. If you sustain the meeting, you'd like to speak to us, please come forward, give us your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes to talk to us about any business germane to the city of Douglasville.
Dr. John Rogers.
Good evening, Dr.
6330
Rogers.
Holborn Lane, Douglasville, Georgia, 30134. Good evening, Council, Madam Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for everything you guys are doing in your time. I had a quick question. The traffic study for this new Amazon project that's coming our way, has anybody figured out where all the trucks and vehicles are going to go, how they're going to get out? Because if anybody's ever been off South Flat Route Road at the only railroad crossing right there, it's a disaster most of every day. It doesn't matter what time. My church is there, And if they would like those 8.8 acres, they can have them too.
Well, Dr. Rogers, we don't have, of course, that was an item
I
under
know.
those A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. So
None of
taking
them
in
was,
that,
none of those were in there.
yes, sir.
But I was
we
just-
don't have that information yet. City
Yeah.
manager?
We can get with Mr. Rogers afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just asking because the church is there and,
Yes, sir.
and, you know.
It's
we-
right there.
The other, as of today, our information for our townhomes, that they're, none of that information for city council, the meetings that are to be held here has
Mhm.
been updated on any of those signs on Malone Road.
So those are the meetings of the 14th and 18th?
Yes, ma'am.
We will follow up with community development.
Okay. Thank you
Thank
for bringing
you.
that to
Y'all
our
have a blessed
attention.
day.
Yes, sir, you too. Any other comments from citizens and delegates? Thank you. I don't see any. It's good to see our fire chief, Dr. Miles Allen, here this evening. Thank you, Fire Chief. If we don't have any other business or comments from citizens and delegates, we do have an executive session. So I will open the floor for a motion to adjourn into executive session for the purposes of discussing property acquisition, 1, and number 2, pending litigation. Open the floor for a motion to adjourn to executive session.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Estes. May I have a second, please? Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Do we have any comments or questions? All those in favor of adjourning, it's been properly moved in second to go into adjourn to executive session after a short recess for the purposes of discussing property acquisition and pending litigation. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We are adjourned to executive session for discussion of property acquisition and litigation, pending litigation after a brief recess. This meeting is adjourned.